Well, it is official. CPI, aka inflation, has heated up. There are things under the cover that probably should be understood, maybe a couple of concerning trends. Let's get into the numbers and let's start talking about what the Fed will do next week. So CPI, Consumer Price Index, often reported in four different metrics. There is headline and core. Then there is year on year and month on month for both measures. We'll go through the numbers. We'll talk about what's expected and then what's really behind the increase. So probably the most concerning number, at least it is for me, was that CPI headline increased. It went from 2.6 to 2.7%. In case you are wondering, going up is bad. We want inflation to go down. When you look behind the covers on month, also up. Last month, it was up 0.2. This month, 0.3. Again, if you look behind these numbers, a lot of this could be shelter and food and things that we all need. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Now, let's talk about core. Core came in flat again. It came in at 3.3. Last month was 3.3. This is, in fact, the fourth month in a row that CPI core is 3.3. In case you are wondering, flat is not down. Again, our target is 2%. And then lastly, the last number to talk about is 0.3. Again, CPI core is up 0.3%. So net inflation, still a problem. Inflation going up. We do have some historicals, this thing that we've highlighted many times on this channel called the base effect, which should start to be a positive helper in the next several months. In fact, I think for the next 4 or 5 months, the base effect, the number that rolls off, is rather large. So again, there is a chance that over the next 4 or 5 months, simply given how the calculation runs, that CPI could be below 2%. Again, it is possible. I do think it is concerning that CPI core is still running stable at 3.3, again, 4 months in a row. Let's go behind the numbers. Let's figure out where inflation is. And like every month, probably for the last 18, possibly 24 months, shelter rent, owner's equivalent rent, is 40% of the increase. And if you haven't heard my rant about how shelter is calculated, it is just all kinds of bad and outdated and an arcane way of doing it. We have better data. We have better systems. The fact that we still calculate shelter inflation in an old and outdated model is somewhere between insulting and tragic. But nonetheless, shelter made up 40%. And again, given how bad it is calculated, it still came in at 4.7%. Now, as you know, on this channel, we talk to lots of landlords from across the country, and no one, not a single soul, is talking about rent increases today of nearly 5%. In fact, it's almost the end of 2024, and no one all year has talked about rent increases of 5%. Most people are flat. Many people are down. So the fact that we are reporting an inflation number going up when the largest component, 30% of CPI, is shelter, is just, it's just a sad story. But there we go. Inside the number, though, there are some concerning things. Food is up 2.4%. Again, food, if we look back at commodities the last month or so, are up. And we might be seeing some food inflation, coffee, cocoa, beef. There are lots of commodities, input costs that seem to be rising. Go back to Chipotle. We talked about Chipotle earlier in the week. They were forced to raise prices 2% because of protein. Their protein inputs have gone up. Used cars up 2%. So again, it was kind of a blended inflation report. The market is now, get this, the job market's strong. Again, based on the numbers. We can argue whether the numbers are real or not, but That's not what we're doing today. The numbers look strong. Inflation is now rising, not falling. And yet, the market has a 96% chance the Fed will cut next week. Yes, folks, it is all but certain now that the Fed will be cutting a quarter point, giving us a full 100 basis point cut. And then the question becomes, what do they talk about in front of the podium? What are all the Fed talk next week? What are they going to say, if anything, about 2025? This, again, could be the last rate cut for at least 6 months, if not 9 or 12 months. Let's talk about mortgage applications. Again, mortgage applications, kind of a surprising number. This one surprised me, but I bring you the data. Total mortgage applications, purchase and refi, up 5.4% week on week. Up 5.4% week on week. Now, how does that break down, refi versus purchase? Interestingly enough, refi demand up 27% week on week and 42% year on year. Purchase apps were down 4% week on week, but up 4% year on year. So again, pretty interesting to see. The forecast was up plus 2.8. Again, it came in at roughly double that at 5.4. We did finally get a report out of Macy's. Remember, Macy's had to delay their earnings because there was an employee who fraudulently or mistakenly reduced expenses in some small shipping area. Well, it looks like that employee has been fired. They basically, again, according to the article, made a mistake in one quarter and then started covering it up with fraud in subsequent quarters. So Macy's has had to come out and restate, I think it was 3 years. Not really material impact. Again, it was a small expense item, but still, they have cleaned that up. They have reported, and they reported that they are going to be cutting their forecast outlook going forward. I do want to highlight a video that went out yesterday. Again, a video that is completely embarrassing. But again, I think it's important to be truthful and honest with the community. I shared with you an hour conversation with my doctor, looking over my blood work, looking over my skeletal frame and fat content and all of these things. And all I've got to tell you is 2025, I've got a lot of work to do. My fat content is a disgustingly high 34.4%. We're going to try to get that down to something sub 18. Bunch of vitamins that I need to be taking. Again, folks, I show you the entire blood work, all the different ins and outs. Dr. Jeff did a great job of explaining why these different things are important. We did highlight that we're going to go on a 3-day fast to kick off the year, starting in the early evening on the 1st, going through the 4th. If you want to join us, just water and black coffee. Again, I'm sharing all of this with you for a couple of reasons. One, it helps me to hold myself accountable. I know that my chances of attacking 2025 and getting on a truly health kick is if I share it with you. Sharing it with others allows me really more ownership. Also, I'm hoping I'm motivating some of you to go get your blood work done, to go ask yourself how healthier you could be in 2025. Again, in 2024, the goal was a marathon. I did that, but I sacrificed a lot of my lifting and all of those other things went away because I didn't want to hurt myself, which I've done in the past. So yeah, I am in the worst shape of my life. Probably, I should say this, I look the worst I've ever looked. And, there's only one way to go but up. And hopefully you can watch that. Hopefully you learn something. I know I did because I don't know anything about these different blood markers and all of that. So again, we share all of that with you. Feel free to ask questions. Dr. Jeff is going to be in the comments. If you have questions about any of the blood work or any of the big fancy Latin words, feel free to put them there. Jeff said he would look at the comments and reply. So again, pretty interesting. So hopefully you appreciate that, and no shame in calling me fat. It's okay. I'm going to do my best to not be fat in a year. We'll see what happens. Now back to the Fed. Again, 96% chance they will be cutting. But what is next? As of right now, the odds are there will be of 2 cuts next year are 30%. So I would actually call that a pretty low number. So again, I think we're going to learn a lot more when they put out their SOP statement of, I don't know, basically where they forecast the future, what they think is coming. So there we go. I do have some updates on Vegas real estate. Again, I'm still looking in my buy box, still writing some offers. Brian Lebo, again, the agent that helped Olivia and I buy our amazing home here. He put out his monthly video about November. It looks like November sales were up 12% year on year. Came in at 1353. One thing you got to remember about last November is it was the worst November on record. So again, being up 12% from that is kind of like, gosh, I hope so. And if you want to look at context over the last decade, the average November was 2,167. So again, sales were really down roughly 40%. Median home price was flat at $475 month on month, but up 6% year on year. Again, if you're interested in Vegas and you're not following Mr. Brian Lebo, you are truly missing out. Not to be outdone, let's give Danielle Fountain some flowers. She is an amazing Austin, Texas real estate agent, someone that I've had on the channel, and someone who I think really gets the data behind the Austin real estate market. She highlighted that in the last week, her data is weekly. Again, you can follow her on X if you have interest in Austin. Active listings went down 97. They are now sitting at 2,339. The average, this is important, folks. We talk all the time about median home price. Let me give you some context of how different average and median could be. Again, a lot of people get very upset with me when I explain how the median price has gone up given inventory mix. The average home price active listing in Austin, Texas, according to Danielle, is $1.17 million. 1.17. But what's the median, Michael? Well, that's a very different number. The median is 675. Let's just call that 50% below the average. Now, how does that happen? Well, quite simply, Austin clearly has some monsters listed on the market, and that is pulling the average higher. That is how you can have such a different average versus median. Let's talk about something Lance Lambert. Again, Lance Lambert, Resi Club. If you haven't gone to ResiClubAnalytics.com, you are truly missing out. He put out a chart on all 50 states, which I think is very interesting, talking about how active listings today compared to 2019. That is important. Again, a lot of folks are talking about certain parts of the country having lots of listings, and it's true. We will go through the numbers in a minute. But to think that these few states are like others is misguided and disingenuous. So here we go. Let's go through the top 5 states whose active listings are above 2019. We'll start at the bottom. Number 5, Utah comes in with a number of 13%. Utah has 13% more active listings today than 2019. Next, number 4th place, Florida is up 15%. Texas gets the bronze medal at 17. Arizona takes the silver at plus 18%. And the winner chicken dinner, Tennessee, up 20% and takes the gold medal. Now, again, remember, folks, the gold medal was 20%. Let's go to the other side of the equation and look at the states with the lowest active listings compared to 19. Number 5, 5th place, Vermont, down 55%. Rhode Island, down 57%. Illinois, down 59%. And the winner, good old Connecticut, at down 70%. Wow. 70%. That's nuts. I do want to highlight my course, How to Get Started One Rental at a Time. Again, it stays there at $399. If you do sign up and get the course as we're closing out December, I'm going to give you a couple of giveaways. I will give you my 10-week boot camp replay And I will also throw in the ORET celebration from last year. So again, you'll have a couple of goodies if you want to sign up for the course, how to get started one rental at a time, get a buy box, the daily disciplines, all the things that are in there and more. You can do that. And I will simply give you 2 free enrollments, the boot camp, 10-week boot camp, and the ORET celebration. Let's close on the topic of our Vegas event, 15th and 16th of February. I just wanted to highlight what I hope a couple of themes are. Number 1, working as a couple. You will undoubtedly hear from the opening acts on Saturday and Sunday who are going to be couples, husband and wives, going up on stage and talking about their journey of going from nothing to something. They will talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. And you will be able to ask them questions. This is where it gets really valuable. You can either ask them questions during their talk, or they will be around the entire weekend and you can catch them there. Number 2, starting from nothing. Last year, we had the one and only Casey from Brick by Brick talking about opening an Etsy store. We're going to have a young man who decided to earn financial freedom working at a movie theater, who had to start flipping bras on eBay to get the seed capital for his journey. Number 3, making that big career move. A lot of you have feel trapped in the career that you are in. We're going to have a very successful corporate attorney who decided to take a left turn and become an entrepreneur, and we will hear her story. We're also going to hear about how to keep your mind and your body right. Our closing 2 presentations on Sunday are going to be about being mindful of your mindset. And also I will have Dr. Jeff up there talking and answering questions about physical health, because we will be 6 or 7 weeks into my Get Healthy journey. And then lastly, the thing that I hope all of you do when you are there in real life is you will make you will grow friendships, you will make new friendships, you will grow friendships, you'll make lots and lots of memories. This event is a must attend if you're getting started in your journey, just to be around the energy and the goodness and the vibe. Vegas, 15th and 16th, go to Eventbrite. Buy your tickets. It will sell out. It's starting to sell faster and faster. So don't be a slow-mo. Don't miss out. Go get your tickets today. All right, folks, have an amazing day. Again, watch that health journey video. I am frankly disgusted with where I'm at today. I have no one to blame but myself. And that just makes the come up all the more sweeter when we transform. And yes, I did take pictures of the before, and I can't wait for the after. They are pretty disgusting, but hey, it is what it is. All right, folks, take care. Like, subscribe, comment, become part of the family.